We're live. Hey, peeps, it's Brad Montgomery. I missed you. How are you? Have you been washing your hands? So here's what we're doing today. I wanted to tell you a story about a goofy thing I did when I was volunteering. But then, get this. The amazing and super fun and kind and authentic and just all-around good guy, Jason Hewlett, is going to join me in just a few minutes. So don't leave. First of all, I'd love it if you hit a thumb up, hit a heart, just so I know you're there. Also, it totally helps me if if you put a comment in, and I don't know why that is, but Facebook cares about all that stuff. So let's give Facebook what it wants, and it also it's kind of nice for me because it's so odd to stand here in front of my very fake brick wall, talking to a camera, wondering if this is actually happening. So hit like, hit anything, and definitely comments. I love them. So this week was a really good week for me. Because I bet like you, I've been up and down, right? I think those of you who have full time jobs still, I'm a little bit jealous. For just because you have somewhere to go, but my job is messed up right now, so it's common for me to wake up and have nothing to do until 1 p.m. or whatever when something's scheduled. But my wife, who is anybody who knows my wife will tell you she is undoubtedly a better human than I am. She's been signing our family up for these volunteer things at uh, Salvation Army. So my wife's gone twice. I went once. Basically, they were stuffing food into boxes. They didn't really know what they were doing it for, but a little bit of this, a little bit of that in a box and stack it. And then I went the next time and we were doing toiletry. So the toothpaste here and a little bit of tiny bit of shampoo there. And it was mind numbing, but it kind of felt good to be helpful. We're in this big warehouse. But what was so cool is last week it came, or this week it came all together. Who cares what day it is? So what happened is they needed volunteers again because they were distributing all these boxes of food and the toiletry kits. So I went, my wife went, and my youngest daughter went, and it was so cool because they were giving away 3,000 boxes of this food, which is when you see the trucks lined up filled with these boxes, and you see the scope of this giveaway, it was really cool and also shocking. Like I was talking to my wife in case there was any doubt that something big is happening. All you have to do is look in this parking lot. They took over just like maybe half of this parking lot for a very, very large mall in suburban Denver and got ready for 3,000 cars to come through. So, and I was a grunt. I was like everyone. I was directing traffic. I did this. Check this out. That's what I did. And I thought I was pretty good at it. But two things happened that really cracked me up. First of all, when we were registering, just signing in, they give us a little vest to make sure we don't get run over and that people know we're volunteers. And the woman who's in charge of volunteers looked right at me and said, "Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate you." And even though I was a grunt, and even though she doesn't know me, and even though I was going to go direct traffic, um, it just made me feel so good. And I was kind of thinking about this, and then I realized I can do that because the woman who's in charge of volunteers was wearing the same T-shirt and the same vest that I was wearing. Even though so she's a big deal, I'm a grunt, but I looked exactly like the people who were big deals. So you know what's coming, right? So there were a ton of kids there, a ton of college age kids, even a few high school kids, a ton of young people. So whenever we pass each other, because there was a lot of movement, because there was like a small army. It takes a lot of people to give away 3,000 boxes of food in an orderly fashion. And so when people pass me, we kind of wave, and I'd look them right in the eyes, and I say, "Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate your help." And it, it just made me giggle because in my head, I know I'm a fraud. I'm impersonating somebody who is important. Um, so maybe that's not good. But what was good is you could just see people stand a little bit taller, and they looked right back at me and said, "You are welcome." But I know I made them feel good as the woman who's in charge of volunteers made me feel. And I knew that they were never going to find out that I was fake, and it really probably didn't matter, right? So what does that mean? I think there's a lesson in this. I'm going to see if I can get this slide right. The lesson I think for all of us is to remember That was cool. Did you see that? I know, that was cool. Check that out. The lesson is that all of us require the same stuff. All of us want to feel acknowledged and important, and all of us want to feel listened to, and we want to feel like we have a purpose, and we want to feel like someone noticed. We want to feel like whatever we're doing has some sort of meaning. And I think a lot of people right now feel that more. I do. I suspect you do. All of us wonder, like, whether or not you're unemployed or whether or not you're suddenly working full time, but you're working from home, things have totally changed. And the more I've talked to people, the more I realize all of us have these doubts and these insecurities. Like, I've changed. Am I really doing it the right way? And I don't know. But my guess is that and my guess is that you have access to people who could really benefit from hearing from you, just that they matter, that you've noticed, that you appreciate them, that they're making a difference. I think that type of acknowledgement and emotional support has been forever important. And when I'm doing live audiences, that's a big thing I talk about, emotional support as it relates to performance. But I think the stakes are higher now because I think people are a little bit more insecure, they're a little bit more nervous, and they're a little bit more fragile. And so your ability to reach out to them and say, "Yo, I noticed. You've got this. You're doing good." So do that today. Find one. Just start small. Find one person and let them know you appreciate them. Maybe it's somebody in your house that did something nice for you, or maybe it's a text you need to send somebody and say, "I noticed you did something well," or maybe it's you right now. You should be hitting a thumb up, thumbs up, thumb up, thumb up, thumbs. Why do we say thumbs up when it's really thumb? Hit a heart. Help me. That helps. That makes a great big deal for me. Volunteering was good for me. It's just good for me to get out of my own head. And, I'd like to say I was such an awesome person for doing it, but honestly, it was my wife who set it all up and made it so easy. And the coolest thing, so one more thing. Okay, this is really cool. I was, for the, like 2 or 3 hours, I was helping people get out of the parking lot. So they'd already gone through this incredibly complex maze to get through and then go to a place where people would safely load food into their trunk or their back seat. And then they had to get out of there. And 3,000 cars, it's complicated. So I was directing them getting out. And this one woman looked at me and she went like this, like, "Thank you." I think that's what she meant. And she seemed to, this was a short interaction because she's in a car, but she's doing this. And I said, I did this. I pointed at her and I went like this. And I wasn't wearing a mask, so I had a big smile. And she went like this. That was the best. So who knows? Maybe she's crying because she has hay fever. Maybe she went like this because she's squishing a hamburger patty. I don't know. But it sure felt good. All right. Are you ready to bring someone super awesome into this? I'm going to bring in Jason Hewlett. Let me see if are you crossing your fingers to work this technology? Come on, cross your fingers. See if I can get him in here. Come on, come on. Oh, there he is. I think he's got him. Yes, Jason.
Brad Montgomery, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, first of all, thank you for doing this. Second of all, did you notice I was able to bring you in? And now we're split screen. It's so cool.
This is so cool. You did it. Can you hear me okay? Is my voice loud enough? Or do I need more volume?
What?
Ah.
Yeah, you sound perfect to me. How about, is there anybody out there? Can you give us a thumbs up? Can you hear Jason okay?
Can you hear me, Papa?
Honestly, Jason, there's a good chance the only people watching this have the last name Montgomery. I think there's
Hewlett, just you and me.
I see Oski, my buddy Oscar from Mexico. I lived in Mexico for a year and met the coolest guy. He's on. Oski. Abrazos. All right, Jason. What are you thinking about? What's going on with you?
Well, this has been a wild time, hasn't it? I mean, every single day is getting more interesting, not just because we're like, we're just sitting here doing the same thing for 2 months, but now it's like things are starting to open up. And can we go do this, or should we not do that? And so it's kind of a tricky time, isn't it? It's this. Not only have we been in this limbo for 2 months, now it seems like the expression that we want to give is ours. Like we can do something or we can stay back. And so I love that you're doing the Facebook Live. I'm impressed, man. This is very cool.
I want you to be both of us. We've been talking offline. Both of us have been messing with new software, new electronics. I'm guessing you're like me that you've bought electronic things and bought the wrong piece and mailed them back and got the right piece. And all this so I can have a fake brick wall.
Way too much of that, man. And at the same time, it's hard to justify putting money into your business when you're not making money in your business. And so you have this weird feeling where you're like, I need to keep all this money and I can't spend to do the job, but at the same time, I need to spend it. How do I justify that? It's been very, very tricky time for me. So I'm glad I have a chance to talk to you today.
Well, that's a good question because I have that same thing. My wife is totally cool. Like, dude, we've got money in the banks. We've worked hard to put money in the bank. We're not about to be homeless. And I feel super lucky that way. Yet, I have this major hang up. Yeah, exactly what you said. Buying we all have had all of us who are presenting are buying junk that we hope is important. We wonder, don't we? I wonder all the time.
I'm just wondering if I'm investing in the right stuff. Like that's where I'm fearful, if you will. If any fear I have is spending money on something I'm going to need the money for later that doesn't actually pay off for me right now. That's maybe my biggest fear because of the idea of, well, I shouldn't buy a computer right now because we might need to pay our house payment in a month. But, but I do need the computer or else I look like this on every single call and I'm gonna crash at any time. And so, yeah,
You look a little bit like either a stop action hero or a like a ninja.
yeah. Hey, hey, whoa. So that's where it's been complicated for us as a family is to say we probably need that $2,000 or $3,000 in a month or two before we don't have anything else coming in financially. But daddy still needs to buy the computer or the components to do a job that will hopefully give us money for then. And we've never been in this situation before to the extent of me saying, can I justify investing in my business that's always made me money to go on the road and do my job well?
Right.
You know?
I hear you, brother. It just strikes me that no matter where you are financially, if you're one of those people who really needed food, or you're whatever, or you're somewhere all the way up to people who have no financial worries at all, you're still bonkers right now. I was talking to a client, Jason, yesterday, and she blew me away because she's working full time. She's in the financial services. She's working full time. In fact, she feels like she's more busy, and it's giving her a lot of stress. And she told me, like, Brad, I feel so guilty. I feel guilty that other people are making like very hard decisions, like do I buy technology for my business or not? And she feels guilty, and I'm like, even the people who are okay are not okay.
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, I know that I've made it through these kind of things before 9/11 when my career started, the recession in '08, all of those things. We've been through these kind of lulls in our careers where we've had to just keep fighting and going. But, this one seems a little bit different. And having survivor's guilt, if you will, for having a job still, or, all of that, that's a real thing. I know for me, having seen my calendar decimated, I'm just like, how can I still create something that's cool? How can I still add value? And us just doing this today is one part of that, and us talking on the phone is one part of that, and offering to our clients that we can get on and do this is part of that. And so I think offering the hope is what's important.
Wow, that feels like a tweet. Hashtag offering the hope. Jason Hewlett.
If
Offering
I
the
knew
hope is
how to
what's important.
tweet, I mean, I've got like 7 followers, so I'll do that later.
Well, it's funny because I think my message before the quarantine is the same as what it is now, but it's right a parallel to what you're saying. Is I just kind of feel like, just generally speaking, but including at work, kindness pays.
That's right.
And
Kindness does.
and I think that's kind of what you're saying. It's still, that is one thing we all have and one thing we can all give.
Yeah, and I think it's even more essential now. I mean, I've preached kindness as long as anybody else, and I live kindness. But at the same time, I think that it needs to be almost like the leading strategy, if you will, the leading characteristic. Where before, I think it was like either how can you serve me or how can you help me. Now I think it's how can we be so kind that we're helpful and we're of service first. And I like that concept. I like leading with encouragement and cheerleading and being somebody's champion. Whether it's the company that's made that huge pivot, whether it's the person. I just got a thing on Facebook from some guy. He said, I just started a detailing business for cars. I lost my job. And I wrote back, I lost my job. I'd love to have my car detailed, you know. And I said, that would be nice if I ever needed to get back in my car. And so we kind of laughed back and forth. And he said, well, can I make you a deal? And I said, make me a deal. And I want to also help you. I mean, it was very different compared to like the constant barrage of stuff to buy and to take and to, hey, you need this. It was like this kindness negotiation. When does this ever happen? It was great.
Yeah, I love that. It makes, I think so many of us are reading the news and worry about ourselves and our own lives. We forget we forget that it's better to look outside of ourselves. I'm totally guilty of that. That's why volunteering with this thing my wife set up was so important for me. I wish I would have. I wish I could tell you, oh, Jason, I knew that I need to pick me up, so I went to volunteer to help others. No, I just followed my wife, but it was awesome. Just remember that, yeah. Let's lead with kindness and see what happens.
Lead with kindness, and you did that. And obviously, leading with your wife is powerful as well. I just follow my wife around. Wherever she goes, I'm like, I just gotta hang on, like I'll grab the tail of the minivan as she drives away, and I'm like, I hope that I can live any portion of the life that she has created because she is the maker of beautiful things. She can take something that's okay and turn it into magnificent memories. And I'm not just saying that because maybe she's watching. I guarantee you she's not watching right now. She's homeschooling the children. I'm just saying that this is a person who, if we listen to the wife, the spouse, the partner, that we say, I believe in you. I know you'll help me create greater things of myself. That's what my wife's done for me. So I follow her around like that.
Okay, okay. First of all, that's sweet. Second of all, really is
Yeah, yeah,
is he really that?
she is.
Because it kind of makes me like half, okay, that's awesome, and half like, is he making this up? Is it really that? It wasn't Jason, but it was approaching a little bit.
Uh, oh, dude, it's true. When I'm with her, I'm like, man, because I'm good on a stage and I'm getting better on a camera and I'm good at that, like in front of people, and I'm good at this one-on-one with somebody like you, which I really love. But you put me in a crowd of 5 to 10 people, I start to disappear. I don't know how to do that well. Where my wife is really good at that. That's her place. She's good at cultivating all the relationships that are coming at her at one time, where I'm good at the one on one or in front of everyone. So that's my place, which my wife does not like being on stage.
Right?
And so, yeah, I think we kind of know our place. And I think that's important.
Oh, so I'm gonna get ready to wrap this up, but I want to ask you this: for anybody listening to this, there must be like one or two. I promise. For anybody listening to this, and they're feeling overwhelmed by the news and overwhelmed by the thought of this not happening and this not happening, what would you tell us? Give us, like, how would you tell us you have hope for us?
Oh man, I mean, I think that what's exciting about right now is that we're in a renaissance of creativity, and everybody has to figure out how to scramble to make it work. And there have been renaissance of this type throughout the ages. The Dark Ages came out of it, and art and music and all of that. But we now have the technology that's been created for 40 years, and it's incredible. But now we've also got the renaissance of artists that are scrambling to make a living, speakers like us who are going, well, when do we get to be in front of thousands of people again like we're used to? And I think that the hope comes in the creation of what we're going to do next and how present we can be in this moment to be grateful for it. So that's where I'm at. And of course, I'm worried about making a living, but I know that I can. I know that if I had to go shovel something or put something on a roof and be a man, I will go do that. And that's totally amazing that I have that option. And it's amazing that I have the option to continue to do what I do, which is write books or speak on a stage or do art. And I like those as my options too, you know?
Awesome.
How about you, Brad?
A renaissance of creativity. Let me just ask a follow up question, dude. If I'm mopey, I'm not feeling creative, right? If I'm like, oh, I feel sad, I'm really bummed out, I have to eat spaghetti again. I've made that one up. I just did. I kind of like spaghetti, but like, you know, I think if you came up to me, Jason, if I'm having a tough afternoon, and you said, "There's a renaissance of creativity," I'd say, like, what? How do you help me today?
Well, I would say if you can't think of what to create for yourself for like a financial gain, then what would be the thing that would fulfill you in that day as a project you've never gotten to?
Mm,
And I call those legacy projects. I mean, I've worked on them myself during this quarantine. You know, I've been scrambling to make the technology work, but then at the same time, I'm like, how can I create a legacy project that makes me happy? So one of the things that I've done is I've written more music. I've sat at my piano and played, and I've written more poems and stories. Will this ever make me financial gain? I don't know. I probably don't think so. Because if you heard my songs, Brad, you'd be like, I don't need to hear that again. I I don't know. But I'm just saying, for me, fulfilling wise, that is a legacy project that I can hang my hat on for hope that I have something to look forward to. I mean, I've talked to people on their deathbed and they're like, I wish I would have done these things. And that's what I've been working on doing. And I say, that's where you find your hope of creativity, even if you're moping around. Do
right.
something you really, really like that you've never had time for. We now have the time.
Yeah. So that was a pretty awesome answer. And to tell you the truth, I knew you'd say that.
You're so
But also, I'm with you because, like, I've given the same advice to my audiences in the past. Like, do something creative. I'm lucky in it right over there. You can't see it's behind me. Can you just turn your head? It's behind. Okay, that doesn't really work on the camera, does it? But I got a drum set right there in my office. I know. And that really helps me because I go in ups and downs with my music. But 'cause I was super hardcore in college, but I've been playing a ton more, and I'm with you. I think it helps. It just I don't know why, but it creativity helps.
And I'm imagining you drumming and there's this some sort of cathartic release, to just get that out, and that will energize you, inspire you to get out of the mopey state. My piano songs, when I play the piano, and we should have done this maybe in my other studio with the piano. I don't know. I didn't know we were going here. But dude, if you heard how loud I play, I tell my family, I go, I'm gonna play the piano now. And they all run out of the house, like, because I'm just like, ah, ah, ah. I'm writing a song. Ah, ah. And Mr. Rogers talks about that in his documentary. I don't know if you saw that, but he
Yeah.
was like, how do you get your anger out? And he's all, darn. That's me. I've been doing that for 35 years, as my release. So
Right.
is that you with the drums? Just
Yeah. Well, also the when I tell my family I'm going to play, they're like, They're not usually going, "Oh, goody, daddy, I love that." And then my wife, did I mention my wife is smarter than me? She bought me the best present ever. She bought me a computerized drum set, which just means you only hear a thup, 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 and it's all synthesized, and I can wear headphones, and it's not as good as an acoustic set. I don't mind telling you. My acoustic set's in the basement, but it does keep me married, and I like
Well,
that. But
what are
yeah,
you what are you
know,
playing? Are you playing music you've written? Are you playing along to Metallica? Are you doing jazz? What do you play?
definitely jazz. But there's a couple things. You're talking about creativity. If you're not able to learn something new right now on YouTube, you're just not trying. And there are just fantastic drum lessons online for free.
Yeah.
They're fantastic. So I do that, which is fun. So you're learning a new technique, a new like a riff or something like that. But then also, I love putting on headphones and playing like Matthews Band or some jazz band or like big band jazz is really fun as a drummer. And
Okay.
and in my mind, I'm there. In my mind, I feel like a 4-year-old and like people were cheering for me and it's just all for me. But can we just keep
And
that between
yeah,
us? This
and
little
you're
ordinary life I have.
and you're the rock star, man. I get it. I mean, that's what we're talking about, I think, with the creativity itself. So I think that's how you get out of the funk, and I know that's how I do. I mean, I also do other stuff like I I call my friends. I called you last week,
Yeah, that was good.
and and I had just gotten off of a call where I had spoken to a bunch of speakers in your neighborhood, in your community, in beautiful Colorado. And like your shirt says, the Colorado, that you got that like logo on there. And I'm telling you, I thought I did great, but I was not sure. And I needed confirmation. So I asked the planners, did it go well? And they're like, yeah, it was awesome. But I needed to hear it from one person, you. And I appreciate that you picked up the call so that we could talk and I could be like, did that actually land? Did I actually do okay? Like, because it's nice
Did
to get
I suck?
applause and people like, you're the best, but it's nice, much nicer for me if my wife says that was great, or my child says, you did great, dad, or my friend one on one calls me and says, you did really good, and here are a couple things that I think that you need to think about. And that's like my favorite part. And that's what you did for me.
Well, you did a lot for me. And by the way, almost all of those compliments were true. No, seriously, you only sucked this much. All right, dude. It's time. Let's hang this thing up.
It's been fun.
Hey,
Thanks for letting me be on here with you.
I love that we're pals. I love that that we're on the same path together, trying to make something work as a professional speaker, even though we're not speaking on stages. And
Yeah.
I love that we're just trying to figure out life together. It's nice to have a buddy.
It's true. And I appreciate everything about you, Brad. You're one of my heroes. You're one of my favorites. And this is for your audience if they've never seen me do it. That is a normal thing. Can you see it? Or is the connection okay?
Yeah, hell yeah, we can see that.
Yes.
You're a weirdo. It's official.
Very
That should be
true.
your business card, Jason Hewlett, professional
Weirdo.
weirdo. You're a good man. All right, everybody, have a great day. Be nice to somebody. Jason said so. I wrote it out, Jason. Be nice to somebody to hashtag get out of the funk. I know. Go tweet that. Everybody have a good day. Jason, you're awesome. Take care.